Hello and welcome to St. Andrew Institute of Technology and Management, Gurgaon. This is online lecture series. I am Rohit Raj from Civil Engineering Department. We are discussing sewage and treatment. This is 10th lecture in the series, and today we'll discuss biological properties of wastewater. Before this, we have studied physical and chemical properties of wastewater, which is included in your third unit. Okay, so let's begin with biological properties. And in that, first thing we need to know is dissolved oxygen. Okay, now dissolved oxygen is the most important factor that decides whether the water is polluted or not, or if it is polluted, then what is its extent. Okay, now dissolved oxygen is the amount of oxygen in the dissolved state in water. Okay, and if here in this case it is wastewater, means dissolved oxygen is amount of oxygen in dissolved state in wastewater. Though wastewater generally don't have DO. Keep this in mind. Keep note that wastewater generally don't have DO. But if it is present in untreated wastewater, that indicates that wastewater is fresh. That means it is discharged recently. Okay, and if it is present in treated water, that is effluent, then it indicates that there is considerable oxidation accomplished during treatment stages. Okay, so if it is present in the wastewater, then it indicates that it is fresh. And if it is present in treated water, then that indicates that effluent uh, during treatment has considerable oxidation. Okay, while discharging the uh, treated wastewater into receiving waters, that may be natural drainage systems, or that may be rivers, lakes, ponds. Okay, before discharging treated wastewater, we need to know the dissolved oxygen content of that water. And why do we need that? Because before without knowing that, we are not able to find that whether this water that we are going to discharge is affecting the natural life there, or that flora and fauna of that natural water system, that is rivers, lakes, etc. Okay, and it is essential to ensure that at least 4 milligram of DO should be there. Okay, 4 milligram per liter should be there for minimum survival of aquatic life. That is, fishes do survive till this level. Okay, any dissolved oxygen content below this would not be able to hold life in that water or that system, that natural flow, natural wastewater, or wastewater, sorry, natural wastewater, not that wastewater or any natural stream. If DO is less, aquatic animals, if DO is less, then aquatic animals like fishes are likely to be killed. Means they will die with the lesser content of DO. We all know that aquatic life, whether it is plants or whether it is animals, that is fishes or other organisms like snails and other insects also, they do require oxygen for their respiratory processes, and plants require for their food preparation processes. So this creates the requirement of dissolved oxygen for up to a certain level, that is here mentioned, that is 4 milligram per liter. Okay, and if the level decreases, then what will happen? all the animals, that is aquatic animals, will die. All the plants would die. Okay. Another point is presence of dissolved oxygen. Present of Presence of dissolved oxygen avoids the formation of obnoxious odor. That means bad odor. Okay. How it prevents? As we all are aware of anaerobic uh, decomposition, I had discussed this in previous lecture. Okay, that what is anaerobic when oxygen is not present, then anaerobic bacteria or facultative bacteria converts the organic matter into simpler compounds, stable compounds, and that process is called anaerobic reduction, okay, or anaerobic decomposition, and that releases H2S and other gases, sulfides. Okay, so due to that release of gases, there is an obnoxious odor or bad odor. Okay, if oxygen is insufficient quantity or concentration, then that anaerobic process won't be there. It would decompose under aerobic decomposition. Okay, so clearly that bad odor or obnoxious odor can be avoided. Now, DO determination also helps to find the efficiency of biological treatment. Means if we are having some treatments, okay, it means we are having any wastewater treatment plant, then also we need to find that whether the treatment plant is working properly, okay, or not. Means the water that has been released or discharged after treatment is capable is capable of supporting life or not. Then there also we need to find out the dissolved oxygen concentration. Okay, now how the quantity of DO in any water sample, whether it is wastewater or any drinking water supply. Okay, how they get affected, we'll study this. Okay, first point is solubility. Yes, more is higher the solubility, more the concentration, higher the concentration of oxygen. Okay, now the second one is partial pressure of oxygen in atmosphere. It affects its solubility. Okay, partial pressure of oxygen in atmosphere affects the solubility or concentration of oxygen. Third point is more, uh, I guess, most important, uh, that affects the uh, concentration of DO, that is temperature. Okay, means if the temperature is high, then DO gets reduced. Why this happens? This happens because more temperature or the higher temperature leads to more uh, uh, consumption of oxygen with the aquatic plants. Okay, and that leads to uh, reduction of DO content as they are consumed by the plants. Okay, in their food making processes. Okay, so that leads to the reduction of dissolved oxygen contents. Okay, uh, fourth point is purity of water. Yes, of course, they decide the quantity of DO present. And last one is solubility of sewage. Okay, yes, if sewage is soluble, okay, then it also affects the concentration of DO. Now, here you just keep this in mind that Wrinkler's method, this one, Wrinkler's method, Wrinkler's method is important for calculation of or determination of dissolved oxygen content in any water sample, whether it is drinking water sample or whether it is uh, wastewater, okay, or sewage, sewage. Okay, Wrinkler's method we use frequently for the calculation of dissolved oxygen concentration. Okay. Now we have discussed that concentration of dissolved oxygen must not be below 4 milligram per liter. That may be also expressed in ppm, that is parts per million. Okay, you need not to confuse with this. Okay, don't get confused with this, that what is parts per million and what is milligram per liter. Both are same. You can convert them and you will see that both are same, parts per million or milligram per liter. Okay, so it should not be below 4 milligram per liter or 4 ppm. Okay, now if it is less than 3, then it is too low for fish population. Here mentioned clearly that if it is below 3, then it is too low for fish population. Okay, and if it is between 3 to 5, then they might survive for 12 to 24 hour. That is its range for tolerance. Now if it is 6, then it is supporting. Okay, and if it is less than 7, then it doesn't allow the growth activity. Okay, means they will survive, but they don't uh, there is not increase in their population. Okay, or they will not grow. The last is, if it is less than 9, then there is abundant fish population, means there will be sufficient growth and increase in number of fishes. Okay, now this is oxygen cycle. We are well aware of this oxygen cycle, so need not to discuss over here that how oxygen gets released in air, and then uh, what are the processes that again extract them, and then again it is converted into and released in the atmosphere. This is the oxygen cycle. Okay, and we don't have to worry about this also. Okay, nobody is going to ask you now what is oxygen cycle. Now uh, we are discussing biological properties of wastewater. Okay, for this we need to know the biochemical oxygen demand. Okay, first of all, let's discuss what is biodegradable and what is non-biodegradable. These two terms we are discussing this from I guess 6 or 7 standards, that waste that can be treated using biological processes, they are biodegradable, and that cannot be treated using biological processes, they are non-biodegradable. But what are the biological process that gets that can treat them? It is simply microorganisms that can decompose them. Whether they can decompose, or if they cannot, then they are non-biodegradable. Okay, now just keep this in mind that if they are biologically active, means they can be decomposed by microbiological organisms, then they are biodegradable. And if they are not decomposable, that is they are biologically inactive, they are non-biodegradable. Now, organic matter is often accessed in terms of oxygen required to complete oxidize the organic matter to carbon dioxide, water, or other end products of oxygen oxidation. Means nowadays, or it is from very beginning, that we need to classify the wastewater. Okay, and how do we classify them? We just calculate the amount of oxygen required for oxidation process. Okay, means to completely oxidize the organic matter, or that is impurity present in that wastewater. Okay, to oxidize them into carbon dioxide, water, and other end products which are unobjectionable. Okay, so we'll calculate the amount of oxygen required to complete oxidize them into CO2, H2O, and other end products. Okay, if that content is higher, then what we will say that the water require more treatment. Okay, and if that content is lesser, means requirement of that oxygen is lesser, then that water is less polluted. Okay, so in that order, in finding out the oxygen requirement, we will now find the BOD, that is biochemical oxygen demand. Second thing we will find is that COD, that is chemical oxygen demand. There are many other calculation also that may include theoretical oxygen demand and above all total oxygen demands. Okay, but our concern here is only to biochemical oxygen demand, and it is most frequently and widely used during any wastewater or water quality analysis. Okay, so let's begin with biochemical oxygen demand. BOD is defined as the amount of oxygen required by a microorganism, required by the microorganisms, mostly bacteria, to carry out decomposition of biodegradable organic matter under aerobic conditions. Okay, so you have to mark these points that are, first of all, it is amount of oxygen required by whom? Microorganisms, generally bacteria, to carry out what? Decomposition of what? Biodegradable organic matter. Under which condition? Under aerobic conditions. Okay. So required amount of oxygen consumed by microorganisms for decomposition of biodegradable organic matter under aerobic condition. Okay. This is biochemical oxygen demand. The BOD test is widely used to determine the pollution strength of domestic industrial waste in terms of the oxygen that they will require if discharged into natural water course. Okay, so BOD test is widely used, told you earlier, to determine what? The pollution strength means extent of domestic or industrial waste, means that may be domestic wastewater or that may be industrial wastewater. We need to find out the pollution extent, then we will calculate the BOD. Okay, and what BOD will tell us? It will tell us about the amount or quantity of oxygen that sample requires if they get discharged into natural water course. Okay, so we need to analyze that whether we are supplying them with that quantity of oxygen or not. If it is not, then it could harm the life in that natural course also. Okay, so it is one of the most important tests in stream pollution control activities. Yes, if we are discharging some water, then we first determine the BOD of that sample, and if it is not in control limits, then we are not supposed to discharge them. Okay, because that may lead to pollution and other severe damages to the aquatic lives. Okay, this test is of prime importance, told you, in regulatory work and in studies designed to evaluate the purification capacity of receiving bodies of water. Now, what is regulatory work? Regulatory work basically determines the uh, extent of water, okay, that is discharged into canals or required area regions, whether it may be requirement of drinking water or water for agriculture, etc. Okay, basically it is head regulatory work. There are other regulatory works also, that is cross regulatory work, but we are not concerned with that. Okay, here it is head regulatory work. There we need to uh, control or maintain or manage the requirements of water. Okay, there also we need to know the extent of pollution or requirement of oxygen for complete oxidation of that impurities. Okay, so that the receiving bodies get purified water or polluted under limits. Okay, It is also useful in design of wastewater treatment plant. Where it can also be used, it can be used in the design of wastewater treatment plant, as if we are able to determine that whether the water is polluted or not, if polluted, to what extent it is polluted, and now if we are well aware that it is polluted to this extent, then only we would design the treatment process. And that yes, we have to design an IM off tank, we have to design a rotating biological filter, or we just simply use oxidation ditch or oxidation ponds. Okay, which treatment processes we are going to use is completely dependent on the extent of treatment required, and that is completely dependent on the extent of pollution, means degree of pollution. So that we need to measure, and we are going to measure this using biochemical oxygen demand. Also, to measure the efficiency of some treatment processes, yes, of course, we also are able to find the efficiency of that treatment processes once we measure the BOD of the effluent discharge after treatment. Okay, now you might get surprised that after treatments also we need to calculate that biochemical oxygen demand, which is the amount of oxygen required for oxidation of impurities. That means that there is impurities, yes, of course. Okay, there are some impurities present in the treated wastewater, but they are within the limits. Okay, so that it do not affects the aquatic life. Okay, so if we discharge them, so we need to know that what is the BOD of effluent, okay, and whether it is under limits or not. So by this determination, we can measure the efficiency of treatment processes, and we can calculate that BOD before treatment and after treatment, so that we can calculate the efficiency also. Continuing with this biochemical oxygen demand, the test is of prime importance in regulatory work. Told you earlier, in these studies and evaluate the purification capacity of receiving water volume. Okay, it is also useful in design of wastewater treatment plants. Told you earlier. Okay, the organic matter present in wastewater may belong to two groups, means the organic matters can be classified under two groups. They are carbonaceous or nitrogenous matters. Okay, name itself resembles the whole story, tells the whole story. Carbonaceous means they include carbon, and nitrogenous means they contain nitrogen. Okay, means organic matter present in wastewater. Now they are grouped in two sections. They are carbonaceous and nitrogenous. Okay, the ultimate carbonaceous BOD of a wastewater is the amount of oxygen necessary for microorganisms in the sample to decompose the biodegradable carbonaceous material. Okay, means amount of oxygen required to decompose biodegradable carbonaceous material. That will be called as ultimate carbonaceous BOD of waste. Means oxygen required for decomposition of carbonaceous material. Okay, this is the first stage of oxidation, and the corresponding BOD is called first stage BOD. Okay, means during decomposition, first stage is decomposition of carbonaceous biodegradable materials. Okay, and this is also called as first stage, and the BOD of this first stage decomposition is called as first stage BOD. In the second stage, the nitrogenous matters is oxidized by autotrophic bacteria. We know what is autotrophic. Okay, heterotropic and autotropic. It is class 7th, 8th study. Okay. So in the second stage, the nitrogenous matter is oxidized with the help of autotropic bacteria, and the corresponding BOD or nitrification demand is called as second stage BOD. Okay. So first they decompose carbonaceous biodegradable matter, second then nitrogenous matter. Okay. In fact, polluted water will continue to absorb oxygen for many months, and it is not practically feasible to determine the ultimate oxygen demand. Okay. Now we'll start that how we will calculate the biochemical oxygen demand, and for this we need to know a fact that any polluted water require oxygen demands that may last for many months. So it is not practically possible to determine the ultimate oxygen demand. So to avoid that, we calculate them for 5 days. Okay, you might have heard or you may have seen this in the syllabus that in practicals also we have performed the determination of 5-day BOD. Okay, means we do this for 5 days, and we can, using this relation, we can find out ultimate oxygen demand using empirical relations. Okay, so as we are unable to find the ultimate oxygen demand, so what we'll do, we'll calculate it for 5 days. And why we are unable to find? Because it may last for many months. Okay, hence the 5-day period is generally chosen for the standard BOD test. So we choose 5 days, during which oxidation is about 60 to 70%. Yes. Why the standard is chosen? It also states that because during this period, in 5 days, first 5 days, 60 to 70% oxidation processes gets completed. Okay, and while within 20 days period oxygen, it is about 95 to 99%. But that 1% may get take 4 or 5 or much more months to get completed. Okay, so we'll calculate this for 5 days. Okay, you just keep this in mind that for 5 days the oxidation is about 60 to 70%, and for 20 days it is about 95 to 99%. A constant temperature of 20 degrees Celsius is maintained during incubation. Okay, means during the calculation of BOD, okay, we need to maintain a constant temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. Why do we need this? Why we are uh, forced to maintain a uniform temperature that is of 20 degrees Celsius? Because uh, with the increase in temperature, the biochemical oxygen demand value will change as the dissolved oxygen content is affected with by the temperature. We have discussed this in this lecture only, that temperature affects the dissolved oxygen content. As temperature increases, dissolved oxygen gets reduced. Okay, so we need to maintain 20 degrees Celsius temperature throughout the incubation period, that is storing it for 5 days. The BOD value of 5-day incubation period is commonly written as BOD5, and 5 here will be written as suffix. Okay, BOD and 5 will be suffix of that BOD. Okay, so this will resemble 5-day BOD. Okay, or simply as BOD. If that nothing is written over there, then also it resembles 5-day BOD. Another reason for selecting 5 days as a standard duration is to avoid interference of nitrification bacteria. Okay, means if we'll consider it for more than 5 days, that is 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 20 days, okay, then what will happen? Nitrification will start, okay, and if nitrification will start, then we won't be able to calculate the uh, actual carbonaceous BOD, okay, then they will, the results would be of total, okay, and sanitary engineers are generally interested in carbonaceous biochemical oxygen demand. Therefore, we choose specifically 5 days period because nitrification starts after 6th or 7th day, and we, the sanitary engineers, are generally interested in carbonaceous BOD only. So by selecting 5 days, we generally get only the carbonaceous BOD. Interference or nitrification can be eliminated by pre-treatment of sample or by using inhibitory agents like methyl blue. Okay, we can also avoid by using inhibitory agents like methylene blue, or we can have pre-treatment. Okay, we can pre-treat them for nitrification. Now, a day BOD test is also done at 27 degrees Celsius and duration of 3 days. Results can be obtained faster and it is more nearer to the actual field condition in India. Okay. Nowadays, we are also testing it for 3 days at 27 degrees Celsius, and results obtained with this are more closer to the actual field conditions in India. Means regions like India get better results using BOD3 at 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, means if we calculate them for 27 degrees Celsius for duration of 3 days, then results are better in Indian conditions. Okay, so we'll learn how to calculate BOD. Okay, and we'll solve examples and questions on this. Okay, in the coming lecture. Okay, till then, you just keep this in mind what we have studied today. We have in this section, in this unit, that is water quality. Okay, we have studied the physical parameters, then chemical parameters, and then last biological parameters. There we studied about the dissolved oxygen, then we started with biochemical oxygen demand, and we studied why we need to know the biochemical oxygen demands. Now we are in a phase to know the process in lab, how we calculate the biochemical oxygen demand. Basically, biochemical oxygen demand can be calculated using the determination of dissolved oxygen in the sample initially and after 5 days. Okay, we note the dissolved oxygen content initially and after 5 days. This difference gives the value of BOD with a relation. Okay, so we'll see this in detail and we also will see questions based on this. Okay, in coming lecture. Okay, till then, thank you for listening. Feel free to ask any doubt. Okay, you can text, WhatsApp, or email on this using this mail ID. Okay, you can text or WhatsApp on this number. Thank you for listening.